Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedict, and I'm feeling confident.
I'm Benedicte, and today is September 14th, and I am feeling hungry.
I'm Brian. I'm in Camp Creek, West Virginia. This is episode number 108. I'm feeling rested. Those are all some pretty good.
Yeah.
Benedict,
pretty positive for a change.
Do you want to pop out for a snack real quick and then come back?
I managed to snack on 2 cookies right at the beginning of the
okay.
show. So I'll let you know before I faint. And I also now have Bluetooth headphones that just arrived, so I could actually keep on listening to you guys while I get a snack.
Mute yourself, run over to the kitchen. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I think I'll be good, but I just we changed recording times and then I forgot to change my eating time. So
yeah, thanks for recording or bumping our recording time up. It's that when we get done with this, I basically am gonna, we're gonna pack up the camper, hook it up to the truck, and drive to Tennessee. So today's a moving day, so that's why I needed to bump this up a little bit. So.
A moving day. You're sounding all like pro already.
Oh gosh.
How's it going? We haven't talked about that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? We can talk about that real quick. That's in my list of updates to talk about because we've got a huge one, a big one, which is that we have decided and shared with the kids we are going to be planning to call it done after Christmas. The original plan was to go through, next summer. But instead we're going to go ahead and start making plans to go back to Colorado after Christmas. And so
did they take it?
Oh, they're stoked.
Are they not happy being stuck in the camper with you guys? With you two parents?
It's there's just a lot of it's hard. It's really hard. And there's a lot of change. They don't like the moving from here to there to here to there. And so that's been tough on them. They really miss their friends, etc. At the same time, I mean, like I've, shared, we've made hundreds of amazing memories already. But yeah, it's been tough, in a lot of ways. And so, we didn't want to say anything to them until we felt like, okay, we can officially say, yes, we will feel like this is, an accomplished, goal, after Christmas. What we don't have worked out is where exactly we're going to stay. There's like a small percentage chance that the folks who are renting our house, will find something else to either, buy and move into or find something else to rent. And, we can work that out. There's I'd say a small percentage chance of that. More likely is that we will, park this thing in one of our friends' driveway, for however, some number of months while the renters, sort some other option out, or we'll, end up renting, something ourselves. But anyway,
a good call.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Laura's pretty, bummed about it. She wants to, carry forward, with the plan. So there's some grieving and, sadness, there. It just didn't turn out, as we thought it would. So, so still processing it. We're still in the thick of it,
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's
but good call. Yeah, good call. As in making the call was what I meant. It's a hard decision, but you made it.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
Now what now you've decided. I think always feels good when you finally decide either way. It's like now we know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Now we know what we're doing. We know what a few of our options are, what a few of our options aren't, and so now we can start with that. But I mean, it's gotten the irony is that it's gotten so much easier. We're adjusting to the challenges. Driving it still feels like, it's somewhat stressful, but it's not this giant burden, that it was for the first month and a half. Like literally, I mean, we're sitting here recording, and I'll be pulling the trailer here in just a couple of hours, and that's like, okay, yeah, I mean, kind of feels normal. So that's all good. But at the same time, I know that I don't want to, be doing this all the way through next summer. So had to make the call. But
yeah.
Do you feel like this will? Well, it's probably too early to tell, but I'm wondering like how everyone will feel about the trip and the future of maybe another trip or something like that when you're back for like a month or so. You start missing moving around, or if everyone's happy to be back. And
that'll be funny. Laura and I were sitting around the campfire last night talking, and I've been saying and feeling like, one of the things that's made this so hard is that just thinking about, doing this all the way through next summer. The original plan was like to get back in Colorado July 31st, August, 1st, 2022. That just felt like too much. And so, the idea that, hey, we're actually only going to go through Christmas is just such a weight off, of everyone's shoulders, that I think it's actually going to make these next several months like really great, which will then make us think, oh, maybe we shouldn't have called it. So I'm like, let's just, let's remember this. So yeah, related to that, Benedict, I do think that I suspect that we'll get back home and some months afterwards be like, I never thought I'd say this, but I kind of miss the camper.
I mean, there is
maybe you don't have to sell it right away.
And there's also like an in-between thing where you can get like a smaller camper thing and do, weeks or long weekends and stuff like that, where you get, at least, me with my workation happiness, it's always like good to like get out, but I get so much out of it for just like a couple of weeks, or like you get so much like, fun and experience, and then you can go back instead of it having to be a year thing or
totally. I mean, we had
thing.
Yeah, we had a pop-up camper before this, and that was what the whole impetus was. It's like, I mean, one year we spent, I think, a little bit over a month living in the pop-up, not in a row, but like over a combination of, weeks and weekends and stuff. More than that, whatever. Anyway, like that was the whole impetus. So we won't be downgrading all the way back down to a pop-up, but we'll sell this and get a, another camper and continue to just do what we did before, which was, week and a half at a time, throughout the year.
But then you could also suddenly do like 2 months over summer, because now you know how you do long hauls.
Yeah.
So you could it's easier to do 2 months, and instead of when you only done weekends and weeks, that feels, crazy. But now that you've done such a long stretch, it's going to be like, 2 months visiting friends or family on the other side of the country. Got it. Like, no problem.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the big update. That's my big update. I'll just go ahead and say I didn't. It was a bit of a slow development week for jtbd.app. I, on the one hand, because I was doing a bunch of client work trying to finish up this project, but then on the others, when I would get into bootstrap mode, I just suffered from the thing of being pulled an inch in every direction. And so like I made tiny itty bitty progress on a bunch of things rather than a bunch of progress on one. And so that was I wish I could go back and redo that, because I just feel like I didn't really get anything done. So I got to I really got to get my focus in place there. But there's just so much that I want to do that I'm having a hard time like really focusing in on one thing, because you start on that, and, that reminds me, I should think about, what's my content strategy going to be on this? I need to make a note of that, and da 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 da. So yeah, it felt like
sounds very familiar.
A week there. Yeah,
it does.
Anyway, yeah. So that's where that's at. Generally speaking, like, I would love to be able to. I would really want to be able to report a lot more feature progress on this. Next week. That's going to require me to say, this is the thing that I'm going to focus on for now, and just get this done and shipped. So I'll be thinking about that on the drive. What's it going to be?
But also, you had some really good weeks, and I feel like that often then you get like one of those weeks where you're not that focused because you kind of used up that focus, or you're like, sometimes you just need to explore and like be all over the place, and then you can find focus again. So I guess the trick is not to be so discouraged during that time that you end up like throwing everything under the bus, or like, little bit like I've done with Power. It's like I didn't get anywhere, so I'm just not gonna work for it for a couple of months. So it's like trying to be like, this is natural, and then next week I could still get back into focus mode, instead of being like, I could never again get into focus. At least I can become very like bombastic or determinist. I don't know what the word is, but where I'm like, I can never focus again, when it's like, it's been 4 days. I focused before.
Yeah,
I can focus again.
This won't last forever.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's a good thought. So anyway, yeah, still good stuff happening there. Some other like great conversations happening behind the scenes. Just in terms of like interest and traction and potential, like, referral partnerships and things like that. So I'm feeling great about it. Just really want to make some more product progress on it. So this requires a little bit of focus. Anyway, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, on my side, there hasn't been a lot of things to report on, at least. So I just go in real quick, and then we can talk about Benedict. There's more interesting stuff, I hope. I've been doing a lot of front-end work last week. As I mentioned, I wrapped up one of the refactorings I had in mind, and then ended up just removing a bunch of other things that annoyed me in a front-end code base. Admittedly, not that much feature work, but it still feels like it's less of a... I don't feel as bad of going into the front-end code anymore. Because a bunch of loose ends have been tied up, and a bunch of craft has been removed. Some dependencies that I had trouble upgrading are finally at the recent versions, and overall it feels like there's a lot less crap in there than it was before. So hopefully, starting this week, I can confidently add more code to it without making more messes than there are. So I'm not entirely sure how much of it was a waste of time, but the overall feeling towards like the front end code is so much better. So I guess it was worth it. At least that's what I'm telling myself. In other news, I did some pair programming on a live stream on Thursday, which went surprisingly well, even though it was super slow. Like,
why do you say surprisingly? Did you have low expectations of?
There weren't that many technical difficulties. I was a little bit worried that.
Got it. Okay. Yes.
That doing the live stream and screen sharing my computer with someone else would just like be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But the only problem that we really ran into was that my computer just got super slow. So at times, just like typing into the editor would like it would take a while for the characters to actually show up.
Yeah.
So we had to be very careful about what we're typing and stuff like that. But overall, I think it was a lot of fun. And maybe
What
I
did you
should look
work on?
into. We built a small tool in Userlist that allows us to track who's using what features or specific features. I think I mentioned it in the past. Like when we launched a marketing feature, we are basically removing a validation from the API. And I wanted to make sure that no one's currently relying on that validation to be in place. Because at some point in the next couple of weeks, that will be gone and they suddenly will be creating users where they weren't creating users. So yeah, I wanted to see who's using it, and we built a little tool for that. That's just like, flagging those accounts in a performant way using Redis and stuff like that. And I can confidently say that the solution we came up with is better than what I'd have had built if I'd built this alone. So I'm pretty happy about it. It was definitely worth it.
Pair programming for the win.
Yeah, pair programming is so nice. I hope that once we have some employees, I can do more of it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the hard part about being the solo technical person on a team or alone. It's like, well, I'm just stuck here with my code by myself, and I have to like get unstuck myself, and it's it's hard.
It is sometimes, and like what works surprisingly well is like finding those like small isolated projects and then getting just some random person more or less to pair on it with you. I did a couple of those in the past, and it's always nice. It's so much fun. But yeah, I hope with someone dedicated on the team, it will be more efficient and easier to come up with ideas to what to work on and stuff like that. But I can totally recommend just posting on Twitter, hey, I want to pair program on something, hit me up, let's share a tuple session and just do something. It's it's a lot of fun from time to time.
Are you planning on just doing that on a more regular basis, that exactly thing? Like, hey, Twitter, I'm gonna pair, who wants to?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do more of that. Not necessarily also streaming it, because that, well, as I said, slows things down quite a bit. But just pair programming on small snippets here and there is already, fun and helpful. So if someone's interested, hit me up.
But it could also, you don't have to finish it on stream. I think like that beginning planning phase is when it's also important, like maybe most important, where you explain what you're trying to do and the other person actually asks questions about what you're trying to do, which might be the most helpful. And then you could keep on working on it after the stream without having to pair, so that you don't feel like everything has to be done on stream. It could also be, and then you could do the next stream. You could like show off what you made while you were not on stream. But
yeah, that's also a good idea. In a way, that's what ended up happening. We built the first version, and then after the stream, I changed a few things, but just to integrate it better into the code base. But it was a lot of fun. We did basically the ping pong thing where one person writes the test and the other one writes the code, and we flip flopped a little bit. So it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
That's cool. That's great.
I think that's
Can I just ask real quick? Is it still on YouTube? Like, is it on your Twitter? Like, how would we find it if we wanted to rewatch?
I'll add the link to the show notes. It's perfect. On YouTube. Cool. It's probably still on Twitter. Like I'm still doing the restream thing where it just posts it everywhere.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah, I want to watch it. I'm curious. I'm really curious.
I was just going to say it can probably be a very interesting thing for when you start recruiting, because people will then be able to see kind of how you work and if they enjoy the way that you think about code and the way that you work with people. And then so it's not going to be a surprise how you work.
Attract them or put them off.
Well, the thing is, it will put off the right people and it will attract the right people, right? Because they have to work with you no matter what. Yeah. And you're not like going to change that much. Like we're not that young. So like they'll have to work around your style no matter what, if they come on board.
True. Yeah. We see. Maybe it helps with that. Yeah. I'll learn about that soonish.
Yeah. Or you could at least tell them, like, have a look.
Yeah. I think maybe it's a good thing to prepare and do some more pair programming in Ember, because that's what we'll be hiring for.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was in Ruby, so maybe let's do another one.
Ooh. I like this.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but that's about it. Nothing more happened. Yeah.
Benedicte,
what about you?
Oh yeah, what's happening in your world?
In my world, well, Queen Ray is powering on. she is.
Nice.
So I did a lot of research trying to figure out this plugin thing where I'm gonna, my idea was to sell plugins, done for you plugins to different services. I still think it's a good idea, but I'm realizing I've been doing something that I often do. It's where I'm on a path which is working really well, which is the live streaming and the workshops and everything that I did this summer. But it kind of seems too easy in a way, or like it's not like a project. Like creating something new would be a new project, like a side project to the side project to the side. Like I want to make something new and like see if it could be done. Like that excites me. But then talking to my now mentor, like my coach, Jonathan Stark, it's like, but why not, take the easier path and continue building on what you've already done? And, he looked at some of my things and said, nice things about me. Like it works really well with live streaming. It looks like you know what you're talking about. Like you have a style and you have the energy and all of those things. So why not like focus on training? So I went back and forth on that a little bit. And now I've decided to focus on training, at least for a while.
Okay.
And keep doing the workshops. So I had the summer functions, but I already scheduled another functions workshop for this fall. And now I've postponed it a little bit so that I can do like a thorough kind of launch, or not like launch. It's not going to be a big launch. It's just like a $49.50. I think I'm charging for that, like a cheap thing. Or cheapish thing. But I can like write some articles. I can follow up on everyone who's seen my free webinars. I can like kind of build up towards that and also get people hopefully from the Gatsby fall camp to come to the site and like maybe sign up for that. Or I'm going to do another free introduction webinar as I did in the beginning of the summer to kind of get people interested. Because I already, through all the webinars and stuff, I think I have around 100 people that's been to free webinars. So I do have people I can like follow up and, send emails to. And I just need to get all those systems in place instead of starting researching something completely different.
That's really interesting. So with summer functions, I remember you saying like, just in terms of the lead up to it, or like the amount of time, and then everybody that just signed up at the last, or people who did sign up, like sign up at the last second, et cetera, et cetera. So what did you learn from that, or what are you changing about like the calendar around your launch?
Yeah, so at least now I have these 100 people that I can like warm up and then hopefully sell to. And also I can start writing articles and maybe get some, SEO traffic over. That's not probably going to land by Christmas though, but like I can start getting, people who are interested in learning stuff for Gatsby or like harder Gatsby things. So I'm not completely sure yet, I guess is the answer. But this is now that I decided to focus on this, then I will, try to make up some sort of schedule for the fall in terms of both content and sales and like the emails. And we're starting up the streams again once a week, because I was like back and forth, should I do those once a week? But now that like I'm focusing on training, I think that those are a good way to attract people and like create that community that we've already started creating. But what I realized is that those people who are watching that are not the buyers of plugins, right? So they wouldn't buy the plugins. That would be more the business manager or founders. So it's a different audience. So I was like, well, should we keep on doing that? But if I'm going to sell to developers, then that is still a good strategy because there are developers watching the show. And also I was asked to start researching what you said, Benedict, about like, what could I sell them that is not training, but the same people, like starters or, handbooks or worksheets, or I don't know, like I need to start coming up with plans so that I can like sell to the same audience, right? So right now, this week, I'm now working on Queen Ray codes so that people have somewhere to like land and sign up if they see the Gatsby Fall Camp, and then a place to promote the fall schedule. So it's super. So I think it's going to be interesting. But also, I don't know. I have this hang up. Like, if this ends up being successful, like, can you really make money off of just like having fun on air? It's like it feels. It's like it's not even work, right?
Always will turn into work eventually.
Well,
yeah, it will.
And I mean, I think what you, I don't know, you're joking about it and stuff, but it's not easy, for most people. If people like your energy and like your approach and your personalities, so much that they're willing to pay you to run workshops, like, good for you if that comes easy for you.
Yeah, but that's like one of Stark's things that I've also read. It's like a lot of, especially developers, he says, has this thing where like the only thing that should make you money is the coding, right? The work you put into the code, because that's our identity. Our identity is as developers, and changing that identity either to kind of a consultant or strategy in a strategy direction can be very hard for us because we lose our developer identity. And the same thing a little bit towards training. It's like, but should I be like a trainer isn't really a developer. Like, you're not developing for money, you're training for money. But I could still do a lot of development work as marketing for the training, which I find really interesting if I go in that direction, because I could create plugins for Gatsby, open source plugins, and that would be, marketing. I wouldn't have to sell those, but I could make them, and then that would be marketing for me as a competent Gatsby person. But it just feels weird not getting paid for the code. Because then, like, if people ask me at a party, I'm not really a developer anymore, am I? But in this way, I can keep my developer identity more than going into strategy work. So we'll see. But it's an interesting thing that like we block ourselves, or I at least block myself from making money on the stuff that comes natural to me or easy to me.
If you were to end up or if the destination is that you create training resources and you deliver workshops and you teach people and you have this community around you, and that is the destination, would that be fulfilling enough, like as opposed to running a software product?
I think it would.
Yeah, cool.
But I am hoping to like do that together. Like, it would be, because with POW, as you've mentioned earlier today, both of you, I guess it's very lonely when you're the only person working on the SaaS. But I mentioned this on a show with Benedict. It's like, if I can make this work and get that kind of community, I could also make POW an open source SaaS in the way that kind of Plausible had done it. So it's still like a paid hosted SaaS, but there could be an open source community around the product, and then those things could overlap and actually work to each other's benefit, instead of then going off and selling hours where I code, which doesn't really like the queen thing. It's not going to help with that as or they're not going to like benefit each other. So I think if I could get like POW to a state where it's making some money and like people, or more importantly, people are happy with the product, I think it's more important to me. And then I could make kind of my money off of training and like have those things work together. I think that would be like super fulfilling. But if I only had to do training, that would be like 70% fulfilling as well. Depends on how much like open source work I can like bundle into that. I don't know. This is going to be a work in process. But I also then, somebody just messaged me because picking a niche turns out to actually work. So now that I've been talking about Gatsby for so long, somebody sent me a message that like, oh, our agency's looking into Gatsby and your name came up. And then there was a little bit back and forth and some misunderstandings about if they wanted me to give a talk, an internal talk for their internal conference. And there was back and forth, and I was like, I don't really understand what's happening. And then I was like, I'm just going to give them a price to see if they're serious. And then I just sent them an email. I was like, yeah, I can do 10 minutes for free or an hour for like $1,000. And then they came back and they were like, yeah, we'll take the hour. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do talk 10. Turns out I'm going to do internal training then.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it feels like that price should have been double when it was like that easy.
Yep.
But at least it seems like it's a path of less resistance. And I don't have to make up my what's it called? My business area, like business model. Because Gatsby, nobody's selling Gatsby plugins yet, and nobody's really offering, companies to make plugins for them. I haven't seen people kind of talk about that at all. So like I would have to like make up the kind of the business model or that thing. While here, like training, there are like proven models, and I could test out different models, like internal, external, and courses and live workshops, and I could test out different things. But it's like it's been done before, so
and you have like you are seeing traction there, like
yes.
Follow the traction.
Yeah. And people are giving good feedback, which I think is important. Like this one guy bought this workshop for $49.50 after a stream, and then I've pushed it back twice, and I've been like chatting with him like, sorry, I'm going to push it back because I haven't had time to market. And then like his last comment was just like, I've gotten so much value out of your stuff already, so whenever you want, like it's fine. And I was like, okay, that's a good comment. Like he just it seemed like he just wanted to pay me for something, and then like that was within his budget, and then he bought that workshop. So it seems like people are responding well to it. So
that's encouraging.
Yeah. But also fun and a little bit scary, because I will be like the face of it a lot more than I would other things. True. So, but it's both a benefit and a little bit scary, because I do enjoy the attention. Gotta be honest.
What's scary about it? The sense that what's scary?
A little bit scary if it like, I don't want it to be like too famous. If like if you look at Wes Boss or these like guys who's done this for a while, like now they have like, I don't know, 50,000. They have so many followers, and people are emailing them right and left, and they're like asking for things, and it's hard to then be kind of the nice and relatable and like I really want to be hands-on, so a lot of my stuff will be live. So I do want to like follow people and like help them like one-on-one. But if then people are starting like DMing it's gonna like, then you lose kind of control over it a little bit. And also then if you do something wrong, the pile up would be like, then
got it.
You can like lose it all. Like if somebody decides that you've misspoke or done something, off.
Yeah. So it's so you're sounds like you're saying that you're you're afraid that if it achieves the scale it needs in order to be successful, it will lose some of the characteristics that you value so much right now. It's intimate.
You said it so much better than me, but yes, that is exactly right. So I want to keep it like low, but then it's hard to control, I think, at some point, because I've talked to other developers or other people who are working on kind of working publicly like we are, and some of them, like, they really enjoy themselves when they kind of on Twitter then had the following around like 5,000-ish, like that was fun. And then suddenly something happened out of their control, which is, you would think is good. Like their thing went viral, and suddenly the jump from like 5 to 10 is very quick, but also it changes everything, because suddenly you don't want to log on to Twitter and talk to people because you're just like bombarded. And people are like calling you out for things. Like it's a different atmosphere. Yeah. So you gotta like have a plan, I think, for that. And also if it's hard to let it keep generating revenue in the future if I don't want to do it anymore, right? Because it's my face on everything. So if I'm selling live training with Queen Ray, it's not that easy to be like, oh, I'm franchising this because then Brian shows up, it's not going to be this what they bought, right?
Yeah, but
so
I challenged that a little bit. One of the attendees of the first FemtoConf I did a couple of years back, back then started doing Python training, and in the early days it was very much tied to his name and his style and personality, but over time he just built he built a brand around that and eventually removed his name from it. And now I feel like I haven't been in touch with him in a while, but now it looks like they've got a big team of like people contributing to the website, and it's just a thing that it's not tied to this one person anymore. It's bigger than that one person, I guess. So it can be done, and it's probably the way to go if you really want to grow it. So yeah,
I think definitely it can be it can be done if you manage to onboard people and like you manage that to have that team, right? And then you lose some of that developer identity again, don't you? Because then you become a manager of a team, which might be good. It's just, so these things are just in your head kind of things. It's not I don't know what you should call it, but
he also ended up building the learning platform he's running the thing on in Python. So I feel like he still has the developer identity as well. So
that's what Sark said. You can you can build your own. You can end up building your own platform and stuff like that. So yeah, that's exactly what he said as well. So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's the right path, and I just think I have to get out of my own head, and it might not even be that successful, right? So. Why be scared of success you don't even have, or you might never have.
Honestly, I feel like that's one of the big problems that's holding me back and that's holding people back, is that you try to anticipate so many things that you at some point get overwhelmed and then stop doing it entirely. It's a tough one.
So, but that's where I'm at with the Queen, and then with POW I haven't done nothing. So, but if I set this, as we touched upon, if I set this up correctly or like get this rolling in the way that I want to, and then I can work a little bit on POW and like getting that in a shape where it could have contributors, then I think these things could be very like work together very well. So I just like need to keep on doing what I'm doing and show up every day and slow and steady and all of those things.
Yeah.
Work on the present. Don't fear the future.
Exactly.
Easier said than done.
we could make slow and steady motivational posters.
That's how we monetize this thing. Forget advertisers. We're going into merch.
Honestly, I think we have a sticker design somewhere for slow and steady stickers.
Yeah.
I was planning to print those for for MicroConf last year, but then it didn't happen, so
yeah.
never did it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I think, and I've been trying to then I've actually been trying to keep at it slow and steady, and like I made like a weekly schedule that is not very full, and try to like hold to that and actually take time off and hang with my friends and like have dinners. And we had a picnic yesterday, and like doing those, again, motivational thing, like living the life you want instead of like working to someday have the life, like the everyday life you want. So I feel like that's working really well, actually. So, and I see progress if I just like do it every day. So for me, that's all for me. There you go. Slow and steady.
Slow and steady. Well, yeah, that's feels like a good point to end this episode on.
Indeed. All right. Well, I got to go fire up the truck and hook up the trailer, and I'll talk to y'all in Tennessee.
That's good.
I'll be here in Oslo.
All right. Bye.
Have a good drive.
All right.
Bye.